Hi divas, welcome back. I know that it's been literally forever and you probably thought you saw the last of me, but luckily, like a dormant seed in the ground during the harsh winter, once that sunshine comes out and the rain begins to fall, I start to bloom. I have decided to come back to BookTube after literally years of not posting. I think I posted one video last year, and it is because I have been relatively active on BookTok and Bookstagram, and also because, hold on, my dog just jumped off the couch and I knew he was gonna shake the camera. I've decided to post again because it is so relieving. Like, I feel like I just have so much to say all of the time, and who better to say it to than people who have the same interests as me. So here we are, ready to talk about some books, and today we're going to talk about books that I think you all should read in the spring. It is currently March 25th as I'm filming this. Shout out to my husband Parker. We have officially been together for 9 years. Dating for 9 years, not married. But he is taking me to Barnes & Noble later today to celebrate, so. Anyways, back to what I was saying. March 25th, super sunny outside for Utah. Am I slightly concerned about global warming? I would say more than slightly, but the sun is shining and that means it's springtime. My tulips are budding. So let's talk about some books that you should read in the spring. First, we're going to talk about some books that I don't own the physical copy of. The first one being Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I just read this in January and it was making me crave a fresh start. If it matters to you at all for a different opinion, my Uncle Jeff also read this book right after I read it and he said he liked it. So let's start there. Great Big Beautiful Life is Emily Henry's general fiction debut, I would say. A lot of her books have heavy fiction plots alongside the romance, but I would say this one mainly focuses in the general fiction genre. It is about two writers that are essentially competing to write a famous disappeared woman's memoir when they find out where she lives. And it is just so cute. It takes place off the coast of Georgia on like a tiny island. And it's just so like, oh, if you loved The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, you would love Great Big Beautiful Life. There is a romance subplot between the two writers, and you just get to see these two writers explore their relationships, explore themselves, and then also get to learn everything you can about the woman whose memoir they are competing to write. I loved the story of the two writers, and I also loved the story of the woman who had fallen off the face of the earth after tragedy struck. So definitely recommend reading Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry this spring. It will just give you a sense of want, like passion, like it just reignited something in me and I just absolutely loved it. So if you haven't read Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, today is the day. The next book I want to talk about is Alive at Night by Amelie Reese. This is a independent author published, it's the first novel in an interconnected standalone series, and it is about two, like, I wouldn't say they're childhood best friends or childhood enemies, but she is childhood best friends with his sister, and he has, you know, as in every romance novel, always been pining after her. And the two of them post-grad school or post-law school end up at the same law firm. It is so beautiful. The reason that I recommend this book for spring is because her name is Juniper, and my favorite, like, kitschy trope is that their entire lives he has called her every flower or plant but her name. So he'll call her like Daisy, Rose, like he's always giving her a cute little nickname. And it's just so springtimey because of that aspect, and also just because it's a lighthearted childhood friends to lovers and the first in a series. So if this spring represents resurgence or new beginnings for you, Alive at Night is the perfect place to start. I love all of the books in the series, and then I believe the 6th book in the series is coming out this summer. So love, love, love. Definitely recommend for the spring. Now, the series I'm about to recommend, I was conflicted on whether or not I wanted to recommend it for the spring, but because today, March 25th, is National, or International, I guess, Tolkien Reading Day, I felt like it was perfect to recommend this. It is the Lord of the Rings series, Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, and Return of the King. Last spring semester, I took an entire class on Lord of the Rings and had to learn every nitty-gritty detail about the composition of both the novels and the movies, and also just like literally every tiny detail that you can imagine, and it was just so fun. So this novel series always reminds me of the springtime, and not to mention, if we are on the same theme of dormancy, resurgence, and new beginnings, this starts with a ring that has been dormant in power, that suddenly there is a prophecy that it needs to be destroyed. And so it's this massive epic journey of friendship and good versus evil, and I just absolutely love these books. There is nothing about them that I can complain about. When I first thought about reading them, a lot of people were saying that there's just so much walking and so much journey, and I completely agree, but once you get connected with the characters, every moment of the novel just feels so immersive, I would say. And I found such a love for these novels in that class, and also just a love for epic fantasy in general, and hope to one day write one. So this symbolizes a new beginning for me, and I think that it is perfect to read in spring. Technically, it does start, the story starts during the fall equinox and ends on March 25th, but I think you should start it in the spring because it's just so earthy and a fresh journey and just an epic story that I think every fantasy or book lover in general should read. Editing Tess here. I just want to say, if you want me to make an entire video on Lord of the Rings and talking about all of my favorite characters and talking about like where to start or like trying to convince you to read it, I absolutely could do that. So if this piqued your interest in this video, comment down below, message me on Instagram. If you're my friend in real life, text me, and I will make a video completely about Lord of the Rings because I absolutely could. The next book I'm going to be talking about is The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. This novel is literally so good. It is about a famous actor who is being stalked, and weirdly enough, stalked by someone who's like obsessed with corgis, and I have a corgi. But he needs a bodyguard when he's going to visit his mother and doesn't want to stress her out or make her think that he is in some kind of danger. So they hire a female bodyguard to pretend to be his girlfriend. So it is a fake dating protectee romance. The roles are reversed, and I absolutely loved this book. Like the forced proximity of it all, so good. The reason I recommend this for the spring is because it is a very short and quick read that you can read while you're tanning out in the sun or listen to on an audiobook on your nice long walks, and you will devour this. I literally did. I could not picture anyone other than Sam Claflin.
Have you seen the winged face with the
as the main character of this book, so every time I think of this book, I think of him, and I would absolutely love to see this adapted into a 2000s kitschy style romance because it is so good. The next book I'm going to be talking about is Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy. Funnily enough, I read this when I came back from living in London, and it was just because I just missed London. It's literally one of my favorite places on the entire earth. I have not traveled a lot, but what I can tell you is it would be really hard to top my experience living in London. This novel is about a girl named Abby who moves to London and gets to study abroad for an entire year. And when she picks her living accommodation, she thinks everyone in her flat is a woman because they all have very gender neutral names, and is surprised to see that it's like a new girl situation and she's living with only men. I absolutely loved this book. There's like a level of suspense to it, a level of new beginnings that I think would be perfect for the spring and for a new resurgence. If you love the weird trope that I'm obsessed with, which is the main character going to a new country and falling in love, this is the book for you. I also think it is one of the best love triangles literally ever done. The entire novel, I had no idea who she was going to end up with and would have been happy with either choice. So if that's your vibe and you're looking for a new beginning or someone taking a new outlook on life, I definitely recommend Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy. The last book that I'm going to be talking about is Savor It by Tara DeWitt. This book takes place in the summer, but it does give very spring vibes. Essentially, this girl named Sage, she has lived in this town her entire life and has called off a wedding with one of the most like known people in her town. I mean, it would be really hard to live in a small town and not run into your ex, but it's even worse when there's this big competition that they used to compete in together every year, and she is set on beating him this year. And then we have Fisher, who is sent to open a new restaurant that the entire town is against because it's an outsider moving into their sweet little touristy town, trying to make money off of them. He has a very scorned past and is a very grumpy man, but somehow has a new start, much like we get a new start in spring with Sage. I think this book is so cute. I think everything about it screams spring, like the farm that they live on, the animals, like the new start in life, like everything about this is just so beautiful. And I was gifted this book by my lovely sister-in-law, Megan. She's read like everything by Tara DeWitt, and I've only read this one in the co-op. I definitely liked this one more than the co-op, but I think her writing is very beautiful and a lot more grown up than I think I'm used to reading. In romance novels, I think a lot of them are directed more towards new adult, so the characters are younger. In this, the characters are definitely aged up, and I definitely think this is worth the read. Those are all my springtime books. Hopefully you can see the themes of new beginnings and resurgence throughout all of them. I wish you guys a happy and healthy spring, and hope that if reading is something that's new to you, that you can really capture that this spring with some of these fun spring reads. Yes, I did recommend a 3-book multi-100 page series in The Lord of the Rings, but trust me when I say once you get through the first book, you're gonna be like, okay, let me get to the end, because truthfully, they're all beautiful and the stories are beautiful, and I recommend every single one of these books. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.